Welcome to another mnemonic interval. I'm Celia Elliott, sitting in for Janet Tababin. Today we are going to be tracing and discussing the history of Washington Centerville Public Library. Libraries have been called many things: magical places, treasuries for the mind, and many, many other things. Down through the ages, people have felt the need to collect and store information to pass on to others. And our community is no exception. Our roots go back to a subscription library in 1810, which was organized by an early group of Yankees who felt the need for reading and for books. And I believe that Benjamin Franklin started the first subscription library in this country, so they were following his pursuits. Now, today we have our friends with us, Cindy Clink, who is the library director, and Joyce Young, fellow trustee, and the person who headed up our levy and bond issue campaign for a new facility on West Spring Valley Road. Welcome. It's good to have you.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming. I believe that our roots also include a library club, which would help to form the public library. Is that right, Cindy?
Well, that's what I understand. It's nice to have such a long tradition and a long history behind us as an organization that gives us not only a historical view on things, but something great as a reputation to live up to.
Well, the library has been held in high esteem in this community all down through the years. And what year did we go public? Do you
Well, I believe that was 1930. Was
That's
our
right.
First year as an incorporated public library.
And this was the earliest library, public library here. It was situated in 2 rooms of this quaint brick Anderson home on West Franklin Street. And it was mid-century, a 19th century building, and in the little frame addition was the Anderson Cobbler Shop. And in the 2 rooms housed the first public library on the first floor here. And then we must give credit to the Library Club, which flourished in the early 1900s through the time it became public. And this is the constitution of this Library Club, which held all sorts of talent shows, lyceums, lectures, plays, to raise money for books which they circulated in the community. So we are indebted to that group. The next library came on South Main Street. Every decade seemed to bring new challenges and new growth. And so after several years in this quaint building on Franklin Street, the Board of Trustees of the Public Library bought this small building on South Main Street, which is now a real estate office. And we were in there for how long?
Well, I'm not even sure how long.
Well, I think
we'll have to check
till the
facts.
60s.
Right, until our new building was constructed, our first building.
That was the first construction,
That's right.
and that was made possible through the Board of Education, I believe.
Right.
For $1, we were given land on Virginia.
Right, on Virginia Avenue.
Mm-hmm. That was an exciting time.
Right, and a great location near
Yes.
several of our schools.
That's right. So then what happened after that, it just seems to grow and grow, and if there's one word that characterizes the library in this community, it has to be growth.
That's
And
true.
We have played catch-up for so many years, and I think we've been doing a pretty good job. Would you agree?
So.
And
It might be fun to talk a little bit about how we are affiliated with the school board.
That's true. How we were organized. Do you want to
Yes.
talk about that?
Yeah.
Well, as I understand it, we are organized under the authority of
The
the
school
board.
library.
And that's why we're one of the 4 library systems in Montgomery County.
That's
There's the
right.
Dayton-Montgomery County Library, there's the Germantown Library, and the Wright Library in Oakwood.
Mm-hmm.
But we are, I think, the only one that's organized through the school system.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
And so the school board then appoints the library trustees,
That's right.
and we are, in a sense, accountable to the school board.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So then about the time we were getting more funding for building through the county, you came to us
Right.
in
right,
1979.
and that was just in time to get some of our new books in, order a lot of new materials for another building project. During that period, we were funded under the intangibles tax on productive investments, stocks, and bonds,
That's
as you know,
right.
Celia. So we had, the library board had done a great job of accumulating some funds, not only for buildings, but for materials. And one of
As
the
well.
first things I had the pleasure of doing was buying a lot of great new books to
That was
put
fun.
in our next building. That was wonderful.
So all this was happening so fast as the population burgeoned. The library as well as the schools had to keep up with the growth. And,
That's right.
It was
And we
a real
needed a
challenge.
library in the north part of town.
That's right.
The first library that was built just is expressly for the library was on Virginia Avenue.
This was the one, we'll show this one.
And that was very close to the old South High School and Nagsig Junior High, so it was very convenient for the students as well as the residents of Centerville.
But all our growth at that time was in the north part of the township. So what was happening there? You want to talk
Well,
about that?
I'd love to. As you recall, I know, Celia, we had the wonderful opportunity of looking at what kind of building we wanted to do in the northern part of the service district, which is, of course, Centerville and Washington Township. And we were fortunate enough to have a very active group of trustees at that point. And one of those trustees, I remember a great story, Dorothy Yeck, one of our trustees, went and counted traffic on several of the corners in the northern part of the service district. One of the corners that did absolutely fabulously in the traffic count was Whip Road and Route 48. And as a consequence, the library board moved forward to open a small storefront library in a shopping center there at that corner.
Sort of a pilot program.
A pilot project, and as I've heard the story told, it didn't take long before there were so many people using the building and so many children in for story times that a larger facility was sought right there in the shopping center. And ultimately, that growth led to the development of a new building on that that general part of the community there in the northern part of our service
So
district.
then what
On
happened?
Far Hills, yes.
Right on Far
But,
Hills.
and it didn't take long for for the library board to respond to the need that was evidenced by the community.
So this
It was less than a year
Very-
before
very
they
true.
realized that we needed a larger facility and moved to buy this building.
This was the Hunter Bank building, and it was a perfect, the architects told us that it was perfect to convert to a library with not too many problems
Right.
connected with it. So we moved into that in, what,
1980, I believe it was, right.
So every decade seemed to bring more growth and
Well,
more
that's right.
more population, more users.
We
Now-
were excited about the Woodburn Library when we moved in. I think we thought that library would serve the community for a period of time. And
For
of course-
life.
Of course, the most wonderful thing happened. Within 4 or 5 years, we were so busy that there was hardly a place to sit. So we've done, as we did at the Centerville Library, we've done the same thing at the Woodburn location. We've had an addition there of 7,700 square feet and have a wonderful facility there now.
Do you want to talk a bit about how the taxing situation changed when the intangibles were no longer available?
Sure. Not perhaps the best story we could tell, but certainly one of those things we had to
Deal with.
face and deal with. the intangibles were abolished for libraries, and in place of that, libraries are now funded in Ohio through tax that is on the personal property, the state level tax. So income tax, I should say. And we have, of course, done fairly well under that. Libraries have an
it's
earmarked,
based on a what?
an earmarked percent that's based on a formula. Although I think what's been the exciting thing for us is that our growth has been so much more rapid than most libraries anywhere in Ohio, or anywhere for that matter, because of our community growth, that hasn't always, that's usually outpaced the funding levels.
That is one of our problems.
That has been
But we
history.
still get money down through the County Budget Commission is how it is funded.
Right. They
through
do
the state.
distribution, but the money's actually come from the state.
And where do we stand in the state actually today?
Well, we're right about 26th in our
That's
size of
amazing.
collection. We're about 26th among the 250 public libraries, not only in the collection size, but in our level of business, the number of items we check out every year, and a little bit lower than that in our operating costs, which we always are proud of, because that indicates we're running a very efficient operation.
Lean and mean machine.
Lean and mean. Not mean.
Not mean.
We can be lean, but we're very service-oriented.
Well, that we know. And would you like to touch on some of our services that are offered for all generations?
Oh, sure. That would be great. I think we start with the very earliest children. We encourage parents to read aloud to children even in utero, and certainly to infants and
get any
young
earlier
children.
than that.
That's right. We understand that the sound of reading is even more special, or as special to children's and even infants as the sound of conversation.
Or music, maybe.
Or music, right. So we have a number of programs for parents showing them about the library and library resources. We have programs for children. One of our most spectacular programs is the Summer Reading Club for children, which has been going on for many years, and we have thousands of area children participate. And they've had so much fun that we now had to start a reading club for the teenagers and one for the adults because they were jealous of
left out
of all the programs.
That has been an ongoing
children.
thing, and they really look forward and enjoy it. And it's a very
They
creative attempt on the part of the library to pique their interest and keep them reading.
Encourage reading and books, and
you give some prizes too.
Right, there are some great prizes even for the adults. So we encourage everybody who's listening to us to come down and sign up in the summer.
How about the businessman? You have some things for him?
We have some wonderful things for the businessmen and businesswomen in our community. We have a lot of materials for people who are doing personal investments. Our business collection is one of the best in the area, and we have a lot of heavy use of those materials.
See a lot of men making use of that.
Well, we do. We have a lot of folks who come in on their way to wherever, just part of their lunch hour or coming in on their way home from work, and it's really now a family kind of place. We have many consumer report kinds of information, consumer health information.
We've gone into our music, availability of music records has certainly had a revolution, hasn't it?
That's right. There was a saying in library communities about the library is not just books anymore.
That's right.
That was one of the promotional lines many years ago, I think, for the National Library Week, and that's very true at the Washington Centerville Library. We have a large collection of compact discs. We have many people who stop by the library to pick up a cassette, an audio cassette, or a series of those, a book on tape.
For the commuters, and
they could listen to in the car and learn about new motivational trends, or have the advantage of hearing good literature or popular materials, popular books.
And also the videos are still going pretty strong, or not so much as they were?
Well, we have a great video collection. We have many materials for children, for parents, for families.
All ages.
Some great nonfiction. You can learn how to add a room in the basement, or how to do Chinese cooking, or whatever your interest is.
Not just cartoons, or there's self-help, as well as travel and entertainment.
And many of the PBS specials we have in video, and those are very popular.
Perhaps we need to talk about more growth, Joyce, and you had a large part in are moving forward in the 90s. And as you headed, as I said, our campaign for a new library facility on the south, I know it was a great deal of work, it was a lot of community effort, but there were certain people who did play a very strong role, and you were one of them. So would you like to?
There were a number of people. I think, as you said before, Celia, Washington Township and Centerville have a long tradition of really nourishing literary traditions and aspirations. And so when the need for a new library became apparent and visible, the support for the building of that new library also emerged very quickly. There was a lot of leadership on the part of a number of community
had a lot of good people working with you, I know.
A lot of wonderful people. We were unique in that we decided, because of the change of the funding of the library from an intangibles tax to an income tax, and that income tax did not really cover the needs of the library.
That was the problem as we were growing.
We decided to put a levy on the ballot for Centerville, Washington Township, so that we could cover the costs of the operating of not only the new library, but
the future
library.
And also materials. A building without materials would not be very useful.
Yes, we didn't want just a shell. So at the same time, we decided to put a bond issue on so that we could build a new library that would serve the south of Washington
Now
Township.
the growth
and Centerville
is all in that direction these days, and in the late 80s and the 90s, as the farms are going and there are more residents down that way.
Well, in Washington, the Centerville Library became smaller and smaller.
That's right.
And you couldn't, children, during the story hour, there wasn't enough room for the children.
Very crowded.
And there was not enough room for the collection. So we decided that the Centerville, south of Washington Township and Centerville, needed a new facility and decided to locate it there.
On
and
West
we're really
Spring
very
Valley.
fortunate in that there was a very wise acquisition of land made previously, of land right across from the Centerville Municipal Building. And so we decided to locate it there. And
it's a good choice.
Well, I think it's going to serve the residents in that area very well. But not only did we find a lot of leadership to lead the effort for both the bond issue and a levy, we also found a lot of support for it. And people did come out and vote, and we were one of the few libraries, as I understand it, in the state of Ohio who could put on the ballot both an operating levy and a bond issue at the same time and have them both pass. And have them pass, may I add, with
very handily, really.
Very nicely.
Yes. And
we
so
were
that was very heartening because it showed that, as you said, our long traditions were being carried on into the next century, actually, with what's happening.
We really want to be ready for the 21st century. This library will be handy to the high school, handy to a number of the schools there, and can really help those students with their needs.
Well, that's what we're all about, and that's what we're there for. And it brings us, when we speak of the future, about our recent automation and getting ready for the future, and as well as trying to live in the present and meet our needs for our readers. So do you want to talk about
certainly
how that all plays out?
Well, we could paraphrase a famous quote and say the future is with us now, I think.
You're right.
We do have a nice automated system, really a wonderful system we're very happy with, that allows us not only to check materials out using our computer system. We have been using that for several months, and it's been just very efficient, helps people to check out much more quickly. And now have the online public catalog, which allows people to come in and just enter right into the computer some keywords that they're interested in searching, a particular subject or a combination of subjects, and that's wonderful. It just gives you instant response, tells not only what materials are available, but whether they're in at the current moment or happen to be checked
Gives them
out.
the answers on the screen.
Right, shows all of that
What
right
has
on the
the
screen.
response been of the patrons? Have they taken to this?
Well, they've taken just famously to it. Everybody is extremely happy. We selected a system that was very, very customer service oriented, because that's our highest priority is to be sure that our patrons are served in the best possible way. And we had a tremendous opportunity to go forward with this automation project, thanks to Joyce and all the 30 people that worked on the steering committee for the bond issue. There were funds in the bond issue for the automation project. And I think Joyce mentioned we had a number of people in the community working with us. We actually had over 600 volunteers who were users of the library who helped us with that getting the information out to the community about that.
And that was a job well done.
That's right.
The automation has been going along very well, but in the future, what do you see the future of that for home use? Will that tie in somewhere?
Well, I certainly think it will. We're very fortunate to have a system that after we have our system in place in the new building next year or later this year, we hope to go ahead then and offer home access so that individuals can dial up from home and find out what's available in the library.
Won't even have to leave the house.
Right. That's right. The way the system operates, it's possible for you to come in as a user now and you can check to see what you happen to have out on your library card. And of course it's great.
Check your own record.
Check your own borrowing record to find out what you have out and where you are on the reserve list. If you happen to have an item on reserve, you can even place your own holds.
Put your reserve on there. Now, what all was entailed in doing this? This barcode thing had to be done?
Right. We did.
For how many pieces? Like $250,000?
Have a collection of over 238,000 items, and we placed a barcode on each and every item, and that's what allows them to be checked out on the automated system.
How many people worked on that? For several months, didn't they?
Well, we actually hired 23 folks to come in and put those labels on, and of course they had to match the proper label with the correct book. And
that was a tremendous undertaking.
It was a big undertaking, but we had such great help, and our existing staff was able to help, and
that was
by supporting the effort, and we were done ahead of schedule.
Quite an accomplishment.
It was fun.
So now that's up and rolling, and the people are getting used to the idea of no card catalog.
That's right.
That's obsolete as the record, I think, the musical records we used to have.
That's right.
So now we look forward to the opening of our new facility, and here is a picture of the groundbreaking of our library trustees when ground was broken. This was in the fall of '93, and we look forward to opening the building sometime in '94, we hope. And could you tell us something of the progress?
Sure, I would be happy to. The building will serve as our new headquarters library, and we will have not only the public service space, we will have, that will be similar in size to the service space available at our Woodburn location. We'll also have the headquarters functions, administrative offices.
Be moving down there.
And the technical services operation where we get the new books and all the new audiovisual materials ready for the use of the public. So those will all be a part of the new building. Progress to date has been very, very good. We have a wonderful contractor, and they're moving forward in spite of some weather problems. But they're doing a great job. We're seeing the steel frame of the building go up now, and
that's a thrill, isn't it?
Oh,
Every day there's a new development.
It's a wonderful thrill.
I wanted to ask you about the size of the library now. How many square feet will be in that?
It's 31,500 square feet, and also includes a meeting room.
That's encouraging.
And we're looking forward to that meeting room area because, as always, the Washington Centerville Library plays a large part in this community. And we are looking forward to holding some of our national issue forum discussions
Oh, that
there.
would be great. I know your great interest, and you've chaired that for what?
Well, actually, I haven't chaired it. It's really a coalition of the library and
several
the
groups.
schools and the township.
But our library has been one of the
exactly
supporters of it.
And so we have sponsored public discussions among the residents of Washington Township and Centerville about current domestic issues. And we hope to continue to do that and
Another
use our
year.
new meeting room to do that in.
Maybe another year we'll be having those meetings there then. About how many people will that accommodate?
Well, we've designed the room so that it could be used for children with no chairs,
Story
or
hour
adults
type
with chairs.
programs.
We have story hour programs, and we have also a lot of special programs during the summer reading club.
Oh, sure.
For children. So there are times when we might have dozens and dozens of children, and the room will divide so that we could have a children's program and an adult program
going at the same
simultaneously.
time.
So with a sound
But the
transportation.
capacity would be, say, for the whole room would be,
I
say,
think it's
75?
around 75
I thought
for
that was
adults.
that. Well, that will sort of be a nice addition to for groups in a meeting place that is necessary down in that area. I
Well,
think.
that's
There's
right, and
nothing-
we have so many library programs, Celia. We're just really looking forward to having a place. As you all know, and Joyce mentioned earlier, the children at our Centerville library now have their story time in the middle of the children's room, and they have a little portable screen that goes around them. So we have an instant meeting room for program space, so we're looking forward to that.
This will be a great future facility, and it certainly isn't that far off. As we say, we hope
That's right.
by the end of this year of '94 we will be having an open house and invite everybody in the community to come and take a tour. And I'm sure that the community will respond to that as they have in the past to our library support throughout the
I
years.
think that they'll be very pleased to see their investment in the future pay off.
That's right, and it's a far cry from that early subscription library too. But then, of course, Woodburn will continue to be open, as always, and we do a great deal of work there in high traffic area.
Yes.
And especially with researchers and high school people
Right.
in the
We
evenings.
have a great information service there.
Well, it's been very interesting and enlightening to talk to both of you today, Joyce and Cindy. We thank you for coming, and
Thank you for
look
having
forward
us.
It's been a pleasure.
forward to using the new library, as I'm sure many people will. Thank you.